Okay, chicos, we're going to pick right up from where we left off with our Huracanes en el Caribe unit. And I left off on this slide last video. So here we go with the discussion questions. And this is your assignment that's due this Friday. El Caribe es un paraíso. So, ¿cómo es un paraíso? It's a paradise. Es un destino internacional para turistas. So it's a international destination for tourists. Para muchos turistas, el clima del Caribe es perfecto. Y es la verdad. It's the truth. It's gorgeous. El clima del Caribe es perfecto para turistas y también also es perfecto para los huracanes. So tourists love it, but so do the hurricanes. So on your discussion questions now. Let's talk about 8 and 9 here. Whoops. We're on this now. Okay, describe tu paraíso. Describe your paradise. So you can do this in English, a little bit of Spanish if you want. So, mi paraíso es las playas grandes con agua azul y claro, big beaches con mucho sol, like a lot of sun, whatever you want to talk about, whatever your paradise is. Con maybe sentado en mi cama jugando videojuegos, whatever you want to say. What's your paradise? The next question, ¿Qué clima es perfecto para ti? So what weather is perfect for you? So you would say something like, me gusta el clima con la temperatura en los 70s. Like, I like the weather with the temperature in the 70s. Oh, if you want to say, me gusta cuando hace calor y puedo nadar. Whatever you want. I like it when it's hot and I can swim. So let's go back to our slides. Un huracán es un ciclón tropical. So it's a tropical storm, tropical cyclone. Es el ciclón tropical más severo. Los vientos, the winds, de un huracán soplan, blow a más de, do you know how to say this? Try to say this number. 118 kilómetros por hora. So we often talk in this country in millas por hora, miles per hour, but this is kilómetros. So down here in the bottom corner, you'll see down here is a conversion, and it says un kilómetro por hora es igual a .62 millas por hora. So 1 kilometer per hour is equal to 0.62 miles per hour. I think they actually did this calculation for you. So our next discussion question is convert 118 kilómetros por hora a millas por hora. So yeah, they did the calculation for you. So you don't really have to do it. Just circle in your notes, just write down this calculation. So it's 73 millas por hora. So if you know anything about hurricanes, we call them tropical storms when it's a tropical storm that comes from the Caribbean, and then once it reaches officially I think it's 74 millas por hora. Once it's 74 miles an hour, then that's categorized as categoría 1, category 1. Hace mucho tiempo, a long time ago, los indígenas pensaban, so this verb pensaban comes from pensar, which means to think. So the ending of it is in imperfect. It's a past tense verb. It's how that's written. So the indigenous thought is what this is saying. Que los dioses, so Dios is gods. Formaban, there's another past tense. Formar means form, to form. So formaban is they formed. Los huracanes y otras tormentas. So other storms. So hace mucho tiempo, so a long time ago. Los indígenas pensaban que los dioses formaban los huracanes y otras tormentas. So the indigenous thought that the gods formed the hurricanes and other storms. Los indígenas pensaban que los dioses formaban las tormentas cuando estaban enojados con los indígenas. So here's a word you may not know. Is enojados. Enojado, you always match number and gender. So we're talking about los dioses, which is plural, masculine. So the describer for that is enojado. If a girl was mad, singular would be enojada. But this is enojados. So this is to be mad. Some of the kids in class think this bird's eye view of the storm looks like Rango, the movie Rango, the animal in that. I think it's a chameleon. Con los indígenas. So los indígenas pensaban que los dioses formaban las tormentas cuando estaban enojados con los indígenas. So I think we've got a question about that. Right here. Número 11. It's slide 11. Okay, so, ¿qué otros fenómenos hemos atribuido a los dioses? So here's that haber, again, helper verb, hemos atribuido. So what other phenomenons have we attributed to the gods? So if you can think of anything else, like los desastres naturales, like historically, what if maybe the indigenous, what would they think the gods caused? You know, some of the answers in class were tornadoes or terremotos, or the earthquakes. So before you knew anything about science, you might think, you know, the gods were mad and causing an earthquake, right? ¿Por qué piensas tú que los indígenas atribuían las tormentas al enojo de los dioses? So why do you think that the indigenous attributed the storms to angry gods? And you can write in Spanish or English. My answer was fue antes de la ciencia, so before science, y no sabían nada mejor, so they just didn't know any better, right? ¿Qué atribuyes tú a los dioses, a Dios? So this is just a personal question, that what do you attribute to the gods or a god? Okay, let's go back to our slides here. Los mayas indígenas de México llamaban al dios de las tormentas Unraquén. Y los indígenas taínos indígenas del Caribe llamaban al dios de las tormentas huracán. So what this says is the Mayans llamaban, called al dios, the gods of the storms. So for the Mayans, they named them, the name for the storm god was Undraken. And then the Caribbean indigenous people, llamaban al dios, named the storm god Huracán. Huracán. Sounds a lot like hurricane, right? Like a cognate. So let's go back to our assignment here. Slide número 12. ¿Cómo es posible que dos grupos diversos utilizaban nombres tan similares? How is it possible that two diverse groups use very similar names? So how do you think that happened? So I wrote, ambos nombres, both names suenan, they sound, como la palabra para huracán. So there was a word for the storms that they said, huracán, and so they named their god after what the name for the big storm was. Okay, let's stop there, and then I'll do another video for the next